Hey guys, so as much as I wanted to make this awesome video about the very first drive and Fireball doing this long wheel stand, it didn't happen like that, guys. So here we are back on the lift. Very eye-opening, sad moment. So why don't I just start at the beginning? So over here on the workbench, we plugged in the ESCs, there's two of them, to the laptop and turned it on, and I gave it trigger to figure out which way that the motor was rotating, right? Because in the software you have to change it to reverse or forward. And this is embarrassing, but brushless sensored motors have an ABC. Okay, same thing here, right? Well, it's very important that the A goes into the A. You guys see where I'm going with this? B into B, C into C. And I thought that I was very careful. Long story short, I had the A in the C and the C in the A. Because when I gave it throttle, it kind of made this curling, crunching, weird sound. And I said, man, did I tighten the wheels too much? And I thought maybe it was binding. So pretty sure I fried the ESC. So no data logging and $180. I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm going to be honest. I'm going to call Castle Creations and tell them I'm a dumbass. I switched the pole wires. What can you guys do? You know, maybe they'll give me a discount on a new one. So I had to take the old ones, which are like these right here. This is a Mamba Monster. It's not censored, so there's no data logging. So strike number one. And I gotta back up. The weather, I knew today, which I'm videoing this, was gonna be crap. So it's been pouring on and off all day. So yesterday I was rushing to, hey, let's get this off the workbench and do a little test drive, right, for the rain today. So strike number one there. And then I put the wheels on the front, and ESC fired up, you know, and when I go to turn, I noticed that it kind of's got a rub. Well, I thought I fixed that because I took a heat gun and I melted this and pushed it back. Long story short on this one, that when you turn just more than a little bit, it locked up the front wheels. So strike number two, I got to, and I'm gonna put more volts to it. I'm going to take out that 12 volt battery and I'm going to run a 4S, either that or a step down, I'm not sure yet, but I want it to be a little bit faster than it is. So steering needs work. So no problem. I can still do a test hit, right? No data logging, no steering. What the heck? Let's take it off the bench. So I drop it on the floor, pop in the old 18 volt battery, ka-clink, and you know, I head out the door out there, and all of a sudden remote stopped working. I'm like, what the heck? It's blinking, low voltage, low voltage. So I checked the battery and it's blinking at me. I don't know if those two motors were just too much for the heavy duty 12 amp hour battery. So, and that was low voltage anyways. That's only 18 volts. This setup can actually take 6S. So, started looking around. Hey, we got this bad mamba jamba. This is a Headway high power 8-cell battery that we made for, we were thinking about doing a electric junior dragster. So, long story short on this, I'm gonna get rid of the Milwaukee 18 volt and we're gonna turn this into a 6-cell and we can charge it with that under lithium high voltage. That's what we're going to do for now. Ideally, I would love to get a pack from John Metric over at Lone Star Performance. Hint, hint, Mel Revo Robinson, hook me up, brother. So this is just gonna get us going because we've got to get this back out there, right? Do some test hits. So, low power, no steering, no data logging. Hey, the one good thing though, guys, the traction mod did awesome. And when I say awesome, it had so much traction. In the video, you'll see I just give it a blip, off, blip, okay? 2 little blips on the way back from my defeated first test drive attempt. And all of a sudden, you know, the front wheels locked up and I heard a zzz. Well, I don't know if you guys saw this over here, but this is the result. It broke the gearbox in half. So this is the gearbox, and here's the outside of it. It even, or is it this one? It even cracked. It cracked both sides of the gearbox. So destroyed. Okay. So here's the problem. I went full send, guys. I didn't talk about it. I said there's special gearboxes. Well, if you can see, we did a first gear delete. So we turned a 4-gear transmission or gear reduction into a 3. Well, what the heck is this guy talking about? So there's the old gearboxes, and here's the stock type. See, it's got an extra gear here, and that's where the motor goes. Well, we deleted that so that it had more travel per revolution. So it's called final drive ratio, guys. So when I calculated it, this pinion only turned 32 times by the time, you can see the mark right there. So when this traveled one time around, the pinion, you can see the white mark on there, traveled 32 revolutions, right? So for every revolution, it's traveling that far. When I calculate this gear turns 100, or the pinion spins 105.5 revolutions by the time this does one complete revolution. So it's got to reduce that speed down from a stock motor, you know, of 16,000-ish RPMs. Well, this is brushless, instant torque, 60,000 RPMs at full voltage. So this is what we're going to go back to, guys. We're going to crawl, okay? We're going to take baby steps because this, I was super excited. I just went full send and I gave it full throttle without doing any power management. So we are still going to use the bearing mod with a smaller pinion and stock gearboxes. And we are going to, well, let's back up. So if this doesn't work, the next thing we're probably going to do is machine this and put a bearing on the second gear too, just to get it a little bit more precision. So to prevent this, because I do want like a 50-mile-an-hour Powerwheels RC car. So we might have to do something like Dumar does. We might have to metal plate it and clamp it. So it wouldn't be that hard, guys. So picture, it would have a welded plate. We're not going to bend it. We're going to weld it. You know, put it on there. Put a plate on this side and see these 3 bolts. We would just pin it. We would put bolts all the way through and clamp that. And that's going to prevent that from hopefully happening. It's just a weak link, guys. You know, I'm not mad. It's part of the game, right? So what we did is we got this to work, but this one actually got mounted up. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's why. Okay. I had to customize an ML Toys mounting plate because, you can see it right here, because ideally what you want is, because on the brushless motors, of course, I got 4 motors and they're all bolted up, but they are flat. See how these Powerwheels motors, they have this ring that would seat in there and kind of hold it in place. Well, with all this torque, I know that we're going to end up just shearing off those bolts. So I modified one of these. It fits in here and then that'll pinch the bolts. So that right there is the plan. This guy right here is mocked up, ready to drill out the first gear, put bearings on it, put it back together with good grease, and yeah, so that's the pair with 22 tooth pinions. And I did not mention that stock motor. These are from a Corvette C7 gearbox. Okay, I'm going to talk about other videos about gearing ratio, and I'm going to actually go step by step as I'm building our sponsored Black Sheep project. So I'm going to show you guys what we do to make these super fast racing Power Wheels. So stock brushed motor, 23 tooth pinion, right? So you would think, hey, I've got this, let's see, this fancy motor. Well, you can't just put it in, it needs a pinion, right? But you cannot take, let's see here. This is a 23 tooth pinion. Is that focused? Get in there. Take my word for it if it doesn't focus here. 23 tooth pinion is actually bigger than a stock Power Wheels pinion. Let me see if I can line those up. So when you put it on calipers, it's actually a little bit bigger. So when you go and turn the gearbox, it's binding a little bit. So what you need to do is step down to, oh, I can't find one because they're in here. Okay, here it is. You just drop a tooth. It's still a 32 pitch or 0.8 mod, but it is a 20, focus, 22 tooth pinion. It's not gonna wanna focus. Anyways, 22 tooth pinion, it worked out good. So that's the next step, is we're gonna drastically back off the final drive ratio. First gear bearing. If those destroy, we've got plenty more boxes. We will machine, put a bearing on the second gear, and do some data logging. So this right here is a GPS. We're gonna track speed and G-forces. So that'll be our testing. So we're gonna start with baby steps. And on top of that, we do have a fancy M17, Sanwa M17 coming, but in this radio that we've got right now, so look at the steering. See how that's like instant? Well, the throttle, we've actually changed the speed. So see how the hit is slow and then boom. That should prevent the instant shock to the gearboxes. We're gonna try this one right here. And none of the stuff that we're buying here, all these brushless things, they're not gonna go to waste. They are gonna go, you guys like the fire extinguisher I had handy? They are gonna go in our racing RCs. So that's pretty much all of the failure. So we have an idea of what to do and to bring this thing back to life. So fingers crossed, the next video is all of the solutions to our problems. And hopefully I actually have a better video, because I had this clamped to the RC radio and it did not work. It's a terrible video. I really wished I could have got the maiden voyage on camera, but the first attempt was unsuccessful. So I tried it again on the way back into the garage, and you guys see that video right here. So as you can see, I just did a little blip blip. Not good. But hey, that's the nature of this sport. We're inventing things. We've got to make them beefier. So anyways, that's it for Project Fireball right now. The next video, hopefully it's a little bit more exciting, and fingers crossed there's not going to be any lipo fires. So anyways, guys, give us the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and stay tuned for the next crazy video.